Students, dear students, in this lecture we are going to discuss about module 1, the data communications. Okay, so first we'll go for data communications. So when we are in communication or when we communicate, then we are sharing information. So that sharing can either be local, remote, or it can be between individuals. Then if it is local communication, it occurs face to face, whereas remote communication takes place over distance. Then what is the term telecommunication? The term telecommunication, which includes telephony, telegraphy, and television, means communication at a distance. Okay, here what is the word data referring to? We'll see. The word data refers to information presented in whatever form is agreed upon by the parties creating and using the data. Then the data communications are the exchange of data between two devices via some form of transmission media, which can be a wire cable. So if data communication has to occur, the communicating devices must be part of a communication system made up of a combination of hardware, and this hardware can be physical equipment and software, which is a programs. Then if the data communication system has to be effective, then the effectiveness of a data communication system depends upon four fundamental characteristics. One is delivery, second is accuracy, three is timeliness, fourth is jitter. So we'll see all these four fundamental characteristics. Delivery. Then what is this delivery? Is whatever is a system, it must deliver data to the correct destination. Then whatever is the data that is received by the intended device or user, and only by that device or user, means the data must be received by the intended device or user and only by that device or user. Second, what is accuracy? The system must deliver the data accurately. The data that have been altered in transmission and left uncorrected are unusable. Third characteristic will see timeliness. Whatever the system, it must deliver data in a timely manner. The data, sometimes it may be delivered late, but if it is delivered late, data delivered late are useless. So if it is a video and audio, in such cases of video and audio, timely delivery means delivering data as they are produced, and that too in the same order how they are produced without any significant delay. So this kind of delivery is called real time transmission. Next we'll say about jitter. So jitter refers to the variation in the packet arrival time. It is the uneven delay in the delivery of audio or video packets. So for example, we'll assume that video packets are sent every 30 milliseconds. If some of the packets arrive with 30 millisecond delay and others with 40 millisecond delay, then there is an uneven quality in the video, which is the result. So next we'll see about components. A data communication system has 5 components. Okay, you can see the diagram representing the 5 components of a data communication system: message, sender, receiver, transmission media, protocol. You can see message, sender, receiver, transmission media, and protocol. Okay, these are the 5 components of a data communication system. So we'll discuss one by one. Message. The message is the information, that is the data to be communicated. Then what are the popular forms of information? It will include text, numbers, pictures, audio, and video. Second is sender. The sender is a device that sends a data message. It can be a computer, workstation, telephone handset, video camera, and so on. Receiver. The receiver is a device that receives a message. It can be a computer, workstation, telephone handset, television, and so on. The next one is transmission medium. This transmission medium is a physical path by which a message travels from sender to receiver. So, some examples of transmission media include twisted pair wire, coaxial cable, fiber optic cable, and radio waves. The last component, which is the fifth component, is protocol. It is a set of rules that governs data communications. It represents an agreement between the communicating devices. Without a protocol, two devices may be connected but not communicating. Just as a person speaking French cannot be understood by a person who speaks only Japanese. So this is the five components of a data communication system. Next, we'll see about data representation. So today, whatever is the information that is coming in different forms such as text, numbers, images, audio, and video. We'll see about text. So in data communications, text is represented as a bit pattern. It is nothing but a sequence of bits, that to zeros and ones. We can have different sets of bit patterns which have been designed to represent text symbols. So each set is called a code and the process of representing symbols is called coding. Today, the prevalent coding system is called Unicode, which uses 32 bits to represent a symbol or a character used in any language in the world. Then ASCII, which stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which has been developed some decades ago in United States. It now constitutes the first 127 characters in Unicode and is also referred to as Basic Latin. Next, we'll see about numbers. These numbers are also represented by bit patterns. But, however, a code such as ASCII is not used to represent numbers. The number is directly converted to binary number to simplify mathematical operation. Next, we'll see about images. Images are also represented by bit pattern, but if we want to have it in simplest form, an image is composed of a matrix of pixels, which are picture elements where each pixel is a small dot. The size of the pixel depends upon the resolution. For example, if an image is divided into 1000 pixels or 10,000 pixels, then if it is of 10,000 pixel, there is a better representation of the image, so there will be better resolution. But the problem is more memory is needed to store the image. Then when a image is divided into pixel, after dividing that image into pixel, each pixel must be assigned a bit pattern. Then the size and value of the pattern depend on the image. For an image made of only black and white dots, which is like a chessboard, a 1 bit pattern is enough to represent a pixel. Then if that image is not made up of pure white and pure black pixels, then we can increase the size of bit pattern to include grayscale. Though then we'll take an example. To show 4 levels of grayscale, we are going to use 2-bit pattern. In such case, a black is represented by 00, a dark gray pixel by 01, a light gray pixel by 10, a white pixel by 11. So we can have even color images. There are several methods to represent color image. One such method is called RGB, red, green and blue. So called because each color will be made of a combination of 3 primary colors, which are red, green and blue. Then how the color is observed? The intensity of each color is measured and a bit pattern is assigned to it. There is one more another method called YCM, yellow, cyan and magenta, in which a color is made up of combination of three primary colors, yellow, cyan and magenta. Next we'll go about audio. So what does this audio refer? It is referring to the recording or broadcasting of sound or music. This audio is by nature different from text, numbers or images. This audio is continuous. It is not discrete. For example, even when we use a microphone to change voice or music to an electric signal, then we are creating a continuous signal. The last form of data representation is video. This video refers to the recording or broadcasting of a picture or movie. Video can either be produced as a continuous entity, for example, by a TV camera, or it can be a combination of images where it could each a discrete entity arranged to convey the idea of motion. So these are the forms of data representation: text, numbers, images, audio and video. Next we'll go for data flow. The data flow, whatever is a communication between two devices, can be simplex, half duplex or full duplex. So this is a diagram that is representing the simplex, half duplex, full duplex. Okay. So you can see the directions are playing the important role in case of data flow, simplex, half duplex and full. We'll discuss one by one in detail. First we'll go for simplex mode. In case of simplex mode, the communication is unidirectional, like a one-way straight. Then only one of the two devices on a link can transmit. The other can only receive. So you can see here, the communication is from transmitter to receive. Only one device on a link can transmit, the other can receive. You can see in the figure A simplex. One device is sending, other device is receiving. The examples of simplex devices are keyboards and traditional monitors. The keyboard can only introduce input, whereas a monitor can only accept output. The simplex mode can use the entire capacity of channel to send data in one direction. Next we'll discuss about half duplex. Sorry, by mistake it has become duplex mode. It is half duplex. In half duplex mode, each station can both transmit and receive, but not at the same time. You can see the direction is in both, from this device also this device, but not at the same time. This is at time 1, this is at time 2. Okay, when one device is sending, the other can only receive and vice versa. It is like this half duplex mode is like a one lane road with traffic allowed in both directions. When cars are traveling in one direction, the cars going the other way must wait. In a half duplex transmission, the entire capacity of a channel is taken over by whichever of the two devices transmitting at the same time. The examples of half duplex are walkie talkies and CB, citizens band, are examples of half duplex citizen bands. So where this half duplex mode is being used, in cases when there is no need for communication in both direction at the same time, the entire capacity of the channel can be utilized for each direction. You can see for each direction the entire capacity of channel can be utilized. Next, full duplex. In full duplex mode, which is also called duplex, both stations can transmit and receive simultaneously. The full duplex mode is like a two-way street with traffic flowing in both directions at the same time. So what is this full duplex mode? Both stations can transmit and receive simultaneously. So it is like a two-way street with traffic flowing in both directions at the same time. In full duplex mode, signals going in one direction share the capacity of the link with signals going in the other direction. This sharing can occur in two ways. Either the link must contain two physically separate transmission paths, one for sending and other for receiving, or the capacity of channel is divided between signals traveling in both directions. So the common example of full duplex communication is telephone network. When two people are communicating by telephone line, both can talk and listen at the same time. The full duplex mode is used when communication in both directions is required all the time. The capacity of the channel, however, must be divided between the two directions. So you can see all the three are represented in this diagram: simplex, half duplex, full duplex. Okay, so I'll stop here. In next lecture I'll take about networks.